When we were young, a single piece of candy could make us incredibly happy. As we grow up, even though the candy in our mouth is still sweet, we begin to taste the sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy flavors of life. When we were young, we cried and then laughed again. As adults, we laugh and then cry. The worries of work, the burden of loans for cars and houses, the pressure to start a family and have children, all these pressures can weigh so heavily on us that it becomes hard to breathe. Sometimes we ask ourselves, everyone must die eventually, so what are we living for? I know your life is very busy. Nevertheless, what I am about to say is not easy to absorb, especially very difficult to fully grasp. If you only listen once, my advice is to watch until the end and listen again and again many times. When you are free or doing household chores, please share and save this playlist for your convenience. I am certain that within just a few short months, your thinking will develop dramatically, reaching a whole new level. Ancient Wisdom Lesson warmly greets you. Today, we will explore together the meaning behind human existence. These answers will certainly change the way you live, especially the final story, a tale that has awakened thousands of people. The story of the little pig. There was a little pig who lived happily every day with its parents, who took care of its food and drink. Han Xin, one of the most famous generals in Chinese history, is remembered not only for his military genius, but also for his extraordinary ability to control his emotions. Han Xin lost his parents at a young age and was frequently discriminated against and treated coldly. It asked its mother, "If we will be eaten when we grow up, why must we grow up?" The mother pig replied, "Even though we will all be eaten in the end, the joy of the present moment is still real. Instead of worrying about pain that has not yet come, why don't you enjoy the happiness of the present?" The pig felt its mother's words were very reasonable, and from then on it was no longer miserable. But then, one day, it discovered a small hole in the pen. However, the hole was too small, the pig could not squeeze through. Therefore, it found the goal of its life, to lose weight so it could squeeze through that small hole. The pig stopped eating and drinking, exercised day and night to lose weight. Although it was very painful, it still believed victory was waiting ahead. Finally, one day, it had become thin enough to squeeze through the hole and escaped. The pig ran towards a distant mountain and became a wild boar. It thought its fate had changed. But then, it discovered it was not the first pig to escape. In the wild boar herd, there were many pigs like it, domestic pigs who had once lived in pens. These pigs lived very miserably in the wild boar herd because they had no tusks, nor the strength and speed of wild boars. They could only live precariously at the bottom of the herd. So, the pig began to feel miserable again, thinking whether it should endure or rebel. Finally, it decided to rebel. Every day it practiced charging into large trees, then practiced biting trees. Day after day, it ceaselessly trained its abilities until one day it challenged the herd's alpha boar and seriously wounded it. But surprisingly, before dying, the alpha boar said one final sentence, "I am also freed. Now it is your turn to bear the suffering." Not long after, the pig understood the meaning of those words. The pig became the new king of the herd. Naturally, it climbed to the highest position. But when it looked down from the mountaintop, it saw a sign hanging below that read, "Wild Boar Training Camp." At that moment, it realized it was only part of an experiment conducted by humans to turn domestic pigs into wild boars to sell for a higher price. At that time, it could only stagger down the mountain, telling each pig to live happily every day. The process of growing up is actually the process of understanding everything more clearly. It can also be seen as the process of becoming a wild boar. This process helps us realize a painful truth. Most things around us actually have no inherent meaning. No matter how hard you try, whether you ultimately become a wealthy person or just an ordinary citizen, you are merely a pawn in the hands of capitalists. There is no significant difference. Your funeral is, in fact, just a gathering for others. An internet user recounted that his neighbor, a 52-year-old department head, suddenly passed away from a stroke. His wife and children were utterly heartbroken. But when relatives and friends came to the funeral, everyone was smiling, greeting each other, offering cigarettes, and chatting. After exchanging pleasantries, they began eating late-night porridge and playing cards. The women helping in the kitchen were laughing and joking with each other while working. The men sat together drinking, joking, smoking, and teasing each other, making the funeral feel no different from a joyful party. That was when I truly realized that your life and death are not important in the eyes of others. Besides your parents, children, and spouse, no one cares about your life or death. No one grieves deeply for your departure. Your death is merely a rare occasion for people to gather. They chat about all sorts of things. Someone might even get drunk and cause a scene, but it seems no one mentions your death or is concerned about it. Later, I deeply realized that we are truly not important in the eyes of others, only we ourselves feel that we are important. If fire does not burn anyone else, no one else feels the pain. Therefore, when you die, do not hold an overly elaborate funeral. Just a few close family members are enough. Everyone else only comes to look on. When we begin to have our own thoughts, we often think we are the center of this world and everyone around us is our audience. His anger out on his own soldiers, he might not have met the tragic end of being assassinated by his own subordinates. It cannot be denied that Zhang Fei was a capable man, but no matter how talented, he ultimately died because he could not control his own emotions. Just as we do not truly care about others. In each person's world, others are merely the audience. We must admit that modern people have become much colder, no longer caring about other people's affairs. Sometimes, we even feel pleased when others encounter misfortune. If you don't believe it, you can ask yourself, do you know the neighbor living across from you? Regarding those who have passed away, many people also feel nothing. The main reason is that they have no blood relationship or little contact with us, so when they leave, we also feel nothing. For those living in the shadows, if you want a richer life, be brave and move forward. Do not worry about failure because no one truly cares about you. For those living like actors in this world, if one day you no longer want to continue being an actor, if being the lead role is too stressful and being a supporting role is not enjoyable, bravely give it up. A student wrote an essay titled, "Only by enduring life's hardships can one become exceptional." This essay received a 0 from a professor at a university. Because the professor understood a simple truth, if enduring more hardship means being superior, then the richest person in the world must surely be a beggar. The older generation has dug a big hole for the youth. Young people must endure much hardship to have a future. But when you step into society, you will realize that as soon as you start gritting your teeth and enduring hardship, you will have endless hardships. Money is left for those who do not lack money. Love is left for those who do not lack love. Suffering is left for those best at enduring it. Note that these are low-level sufferings, not the suffering of self-discipline or training for personal development. Young people today no longer accept blindly enduring hardship. Recently, I saw an internet user say that if you feel very tired, go to the market at 4 in the morning or go to the emergency room. Then someone else replied, if you feel tired, shouldn't you rest? Why compare who is more tired? According to this logic, among the 8 billion people in the world, only the most tired person has the right to say they are tired. Cultivating willpower is essential when you cannot avoid suffering. Therefore, we should not glorify suffering, as it will only push ourselves into a vortex of self-destruction without return. Success depends on many factors, but do not blindly or deliberately endure useless suffering. Positivity and optimism are the best attitudes towards life. Do not suffer just for the sake of suffering. Tradition always encourages us that hardship comes first, happiness later, earn money first, enjoy later. But if life is short, perhaps we will suffer our entire lives. Author Kigo Higashino once wrote, "Trying too hard is very tiring. Humans do not live in this world to suffer, therefore there is no need to take everything to heart. When you feel too busy, slow down a little. When you feel tired, rest. When you feel sad, cry out loud. Do not always confront yourself. Nothing is more important than living healthily, right? The lifestyle abroad is like a mirror reflecting us. They work for half the year, the other half is for fun. They buy houses just to live in. Cars just need to run. We live in this world for a few decades, not to work and overtime every day, and certainly not to suffer. We come to this world to enjoy life and experience its interesting things. In this life, some people will admire you, some will look down on you, some will envy you, some will misunderstand you. You cannot please everyone, so do not overly care about how others perceive you. You must always remind yourself that your body is your own, you must cherish it. Your mood is also your own, so you must treasure it. Do not make things difficult for yourself because of unworthy people and matters. A little fish went traveling in a magical forest, swam next to an old fish, and said, "I want to find what they call the ocean." The old fish, surprised, asked, "The ocean?" "Right now, you are in the ocean," the little fish said. "This is water. I want to find the ocean." We spend our entire lives searching for the meaning of life, like a fish living in water searching for the ocean. Many people are becoming increasingly anxious because everything they do needs to have meaning, especially sensitive people. Even when reading a book or watching a movie, they must write a review afterward. Whenever they go to enjoy simple pleasures, they feel guilty. Perhaps because since childhood we have been taught that eating, drinking, and playing are a waste of time. Only enduring hardship is the true meaning of life. People must strive to achieve good results. Living like this is truly very tiring. Not only tiring, but when we become unemployed, heartbroken, or encounter difficulties, we will fall into a state of immense mental exhaustion. Countless people overlook a truth: many things do not need to have meaning. Eating, drinking, and playing do not mean wasting time, and enduring hardship does not mean you are living meaningfully. When you are anxious and mentally exhausted, remember that life is merely the accumulation of countless experiences. As long as you want to, you can do things that seem meaningless, such as sitting idly watching the sunrise, counting stars, or sitting on the grass all day. Your experiences are the greatest meaning. Life does not necessarily have to be spent doing things that others deem meaningful, nor must it follow society's mainstream values, such as getting married at 20 or establishing a career at 30. Meaning is created by yourself. Life is a wild field, not a railway track. As long as you are enjoying the present, you already have meaning. Actually, what is the biggest difference between humans and animals? Some people say the biggest difference is that an animal's life has no meaning, while a human's life does. I think that is not true. Both the lives of animals and humans have no inherent meaning, because humans evolved from animals. The world did not suddenly become meaningful just because we have thoughts while animals do not. But animals do not know that their lives lack meaning and they do not care. Humans, however, know and cannot endure meaninglessness, so they busily search for meaning. It is precisely in this search for meaning that humans have created religion, philosophy, and art. And when religion, philosophy, and art exist, people feel their lives have meaning. Just like the individual, in the process of searching for meaning, humans have formed their spiritual lives. After having a spiritual life, they feel their lives have meaning. Therefore, this meaning is absolutely not prepared for you by nature or the universe. Nature has no concept of meaning. It does not specially prepare any meaning for humans. A nurse named Bronnie Ware, who worked in a palliative care ward in Australia for 9 years, published a book titled The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, based on the stories shared by the terminally ill patients she cared for. Below are the 5 regrets mentioned most frequently. Number 1. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This is the most common regret of all. When a person realizes their life is ending, they easily look back and see how many dreams remain unfulfilled. Most people have not even accomplished half of their dreams. Only when lying on their deathbed do they realize it was their own choices. They decided everything. Number 2. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This was almost the lament of all the male patients she cared for. They missed the opportunity to witness their children growing up and missed precious moments with their parents. If you can simplify your way of living and make reasonable decisions, you will discover that the amount of money truly needed to live is not as much as you imagined. After that, you can spend the rest of your time enjoying life, and you will be happier. Number 3. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Many people, wanting to maintain harmony with others, suppressed their emotions. The result was they lost their personality and drifted further and further from their true selves. Number 4. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Many people, burdened by life's pressures, neglected their precious friendships, which gradually faded over time. When lying on their deathbed, everyone remembered their old friends and regretted not dedicating enough time and effort to those friendships. Number 5. I wish I had let myself be happier. Surprisingly, this appeared very frequently. When a person lies on their bed awaiting death, the thoughts of others are no longer so important. What they truly care about is their own heart. Therefore, before death draws near, if one can let go of everything and smile facing themselves, that is truly wonderful. In Japan, a young nurse specializing in end-of-life care named Sarah witnessed and listened to the regrets of over 1,000 patients before they passed away. She then wrote the book 25 Regrets Before Dying. The first 5 regrets were not doing the things they truly wanted to do, not achieving their dreams, doing things against their conscience, letting emotions control their entire life, and not having enough strength to help others. You will realize that no matter the country, whether Western or Asian, when facing death, everyone's regrets are the same. Therefore, I hope everyone has the courage to do what they want and does not repeat the regrets of others. If I offered you an entire lifetime with an inexhaustible fortune, but you had to trade it for your health, would you make the exchange? If you do not know how to choose, this story will enlighten you. Long ago, the wife of a poor man discovered 3 old, hungry, white-haired men standing in front of her door. She invited them into the house to eat something. The old men said, "Ask your husband if he agrees." The husband happily replied, "Quickly invite them in. Helping those in need is the right thing to do." The 3 old men smiled and said, "Actually, we are the gods of wealth, success, and health. To repay your kindness, you may invite one of us into your home to fulfill your wish. But remember, you can only choose one." The wife wanted to choose the god of wealth, while the husband wanted to choose the god of success. Their daughter, doing homework beside them, chimed in, "I think the god of health is best. If our whole family lives healthily together, how happy we will be." So they invited the god of health into their home. Strangely, the gods of wealth and success also followed in. The wife, surprised, asked, "Wasn't only one person allowed?" The god of health replied, "That is correct. But there is one exception. Only when you choose me will the other 2 follow. Because without health, wealth and success are worth nothing. In this life, whether you have a lot of money or not is unimportant. Health is the most important thing. Do not fight for money and benefits recklessly, because no matter how much money you have, it cannot stop death. No matter how beautiful you are, you cannot please death. Earning money is just a game. Health is the goal. Good health is more precious than anything else because parts of the body are very expensive and hard to find suitable replacements. Most importantly, they are not always readily available. Writer Maxim Gorky once told a story about a young man full of disappointment. He often complained about his poor life and society's injustice. Everyone avoided him when they saw him. One day, he met an old man who asked the young man what he needed. The young man replied, "I am very poor. I want to be rich." The old man said, "Oh, really? Then sell me your hands and feet. I will pay you $5,000. The young man shook his head and said, "No." The old man continued, "Do you think the price is too low? Then I will pay $10,000 for your hands and feet." The young man, astonished, shook his head and said to the old man, "No matter how much you pay, I will not sell my hands." The old man replied, "Exactly. Now, do you still think you are poor? On your body, you have something worth more than $10,000, your health. Isn't health your greatest asset? Everyone is born with the most wonderful gift, not exceptional luck, but a healthy body." After the recent pandemic years, many people have realized a truth. No matter how much money you have, you cannot buy a healthy body. Once the body collapses, everything returns to zero. Someone once said, if all men consider having a house, a car, and a prestigious job as their only life dream, what hope does this country have? Do you want to tell your grandchildren when you return home, "Do you know what the greatest thing I did in my life was? Listen carefully, I paid off the mortgage for my house." Humans, from the moment they are born, are actually stepping onto a path gradually leading to death. As the old saying goes, life should be lived so that when you look back, you have no regrets for time wasted or shame for years lived in mediocrity. In its golden age, there was a passage like this: I live in this world only to understand a few principles, to encounter a few interesting things, so that my life can be considered successful. In the book Walden, written by Henry David Thoreau about living alone in the woods, it also says, life has no inherent value unless you choose and give it value. From now on, do not live the life you feel you must live anymore. Live the life you want to live. Death is not scary. What is scary is realizing at the moment of death that you have never truly lived. There is an Oscar-winning short film called 1 Minute to Live. I believe you can also find the meaning of life through it. The little fly in the film, just after being born, discovers a countdown clock on its head, which it cannot remove no matter how hard it shakes. The poor little fly did not understand what this meant until it saw an old fly. The number on its clock reached 0 and its life ended instantly. At that moment, the little fly understood it only had 1 minute to live. It then received a long list from the old fly, clearly stating all the things a fly must do in its lifetime. With time pressing, the little fly immediately began acting according to the list. It started by biting a raccoon, joining a dance party, rescuing an insect, and even getting married and having children, all happening in the blink of an eye. It had no time to think or feel. It just carried out each important decision in its life. But as it neared the end, the tasks became more difficult, such as gazing at the stars. But it was daytime. How could it see stars? Or becoming famous, which was even harder than stargazing. It began to feel anxious and desperate. It did not expect that despair was also on the list of things to do. Suddenly, a drop of oil fell on it, and its life ended at that very last second. As night fell, it could finally stop to gaze at the stars. Many years later, this amber specimen became a sought-after centerpiece, and it also completed the final task on the list, becoming famous. But what did that mean? Its entire life was just a rush to complete a list, and ironically, that list was written by someone else. It is satirical and also very sad, but do not rush to mock that little fly, because our lives are not much different. Passing college entrance exams, finding a job, getting married, having children, achieving fame, these are the lists left to us by our predecessors. But these things are completely not our own needs. They are the expectations of others. The story of the man and Buddha. There was a man who had just died. Only at that second did he realize how short his life had been. He saw Buddha holding a box and walking towards him. Buddha said, "All right, let's go." The man exclaimed, "So soon? I still have many things I haven't finished." Buddha replied, "I am sorry, but your time is up." The man asked Buddha, "What is in that box?" Buddha answered, "It is what belongs to you." The man, confused, asked, "Do you mean my possessions like clothes and money?" Buddha shook his head. "Those things never belonged to you. They belong to the world." The man asked again, "Then, is it my memories?" Buddha replied, "No, they belong to time." The man guessed, "Is it my talents?" Buddha answered, "No, they belong to circumstances." The man continued, "Is it my friends and family?" Buddha said, "No, they belong to the journey of your life." The man asked again then, "Is it my wife and children?" Buddha said, "No, they belong to your heart." The man sighed, "Then it must be my body." Buddha replied, "No, your body belongs to dust." Finally, the man asserted, "Then it must be my soul." Buddha smiled. "You are completely wrong. Your soul belongs to me." The man, with tears welling up, took the box from Buddha's hands and opened it. Inside the box was empty. He burst into tears and asked Buddha, "So, did I never truly possess anything?" Buddha answered, "Correct. Nothing in this world truly belongs to you." The man continued then, "What is mine?" Buddha said, "Every moment you live is yours. Life is a series of choices and letting go. Humans are born amidst crying and depart amidst the crying of others. The time between these two cries is life." God is also very interesting. Cats like to eat fish, but cats cannot go into the water. Fish like to eat worms, but fish cannot go onto land. Life is a process of both possessing and losing, of choosing and letting go. Scientific research indicates that 50 years after we leave this world, time will erase all traces we have left. From a certain perspective, humans experience three deaths. The first is when the heart stops beating, the physical death. The second is when the last person who knew us also passes away. The third is when all images, information, photos, and videos about us disappear. So, if life has no inherent meaning, understanding this is not to destroy our will to live, but to remind us that the greatest meaning of life is perhaps to live fully in every present moment. This means learning to cherish every act of love, every hug, every meal with loved ones, every gathering, and learning to value the friends around you. Living wholeheartedly for today is perhaps the greatest meaning of life. Do not let small matters trouble yourself, nor trouble others. Live by the philosophy of living well each day. Perhaps that is the greatest meaning of our lives.